is 9:33. Welcome back. You're watching BT Vancouver. Well, what started as a lovely father and son bike ride turned into a racist tirade in Surrey over the weekend. Ashley Burr spoke with a family who are still pretty shaken up about the incident.
So we're on the bike lane, and then
honk, honk. Then this guy just starts screaming.
A father and son bike ride turned into a nightmare over the weekend when the pair were nearly hit by a car, and then the driver launched into a racist tirade.
Parker, can you please go and open the gate?
It happened Sunday afternoon. The pair were biking through Surrey near the intersection of 96th Avenue and 160th Street when a vehicle started honking at them. They were in the bike lane, so they didn't think the honking was about them. But then the vehicle's driver cut the father and son off and pulled over.
He got off the car and started just screaming and yelling at us. And we were on the bike lane, and so we were confused on what happened. So other people start telling him, calm down, like, you know, just there is a kid there, just calm down, just chill.
Diaz says as the man became increasingly aggressive, he decided to call the police.
Guys start saying like lots of racial stuff, and then he kept saying that we should go back to where, like, I should go back home, I should go back where I'm from.
Diaz and his son waited for the police to arrive, but the man drove off by the time officers got there. Diaz gave the man's license plate over to police. RCMP did make contact with the driver, instructing him on patience and safety while on the road.
Based on the circumstances, we were able to come to an informal resolution, and at that time I updated Alejandro and I advised him that I'd spoken to him.
They told him that he should be more careful, but that's it.
The incident didn't sit well for Constable Alexander Cameron, so he gave Diaz a call to see if it would be okay for him to stop by and talk to Diaz's son.
What made me want to reach out to Parker was the fact that I saw that he was so upset at scene, and when I saw his look on his face and he didn't want to talk to me, it was just unsettling for me for the rest of the day. So I followed up by going to his house. I brought him a teddy bear. And I asked him, would you do me a favor? Would you take this teddy bear on bike rides with you?
Although thankful for the constable's kindness, Diaz remains frustrated with the system he says lets people spreading racism so easily off the hook.
He was aggressive, he was swearing, he was like the racial things, and that's it. He was just told to be nicer, and that's it. So there are no consequences for this guy.
In New Westminster, Ashley Burr, City News.
9:36 now on Breakfast Television. A private funeral will be held for George Floyd today, 2 weeks after he died in Minneapolis while being held down by police. The service for family and friends follows a memorial and visitation yesterday, attended by thousands. Boxing legend Floyd Mayweather has paid for the funeral. Actor Jamie Foxx and the mayor of Houston are both expected to attend today. Floyd's death has sparked protests around the world against police brutality and racism. A judge in Minnesota has ordered Minneapolis police to stop using neck restraints and chokeholds while dealing with suspects. The plan was approved by the city's mayor and council last week. The judge says officers must notify their superiors and physically intervene if they see inappropriate use of force. The head of the RCMP has told the Prime Minister some officers will soon be wearing body cameras, and now Justin Trudeau wants forces across Canada to follow suit.
On our call, one of the things we discussed was the adoption of body cameras. I'm committing to raising this with the provinces this week so we can move forward as quickly as possible.
This comes amid anti-racism protests across the country and calls to defund the police. 4 years ago, the RCMP rejected a call to wear body cams because of cost and technical issues. And in his daily address to Canadians today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Ottawa is launching a PPE hub to help distribute important supplies and equipment to the provinces.
On Saturday, a ship carrying 160,000 litres of hand sanitizer arrived in Vancouver, and we're expecting 7 more ships with hand sanitizer in the coming days. We also have almost 1 million face shields and more than 7 million pairs of gloves on their way to the provinces and territories. And to connect businesses looking for PPE with suppliers, today we're launching a PPE Supply Hub website.
Despite 29 new cases of COVID-19 in our province, no one has died from the virus in the last 3 days. Overall, there are 10 fewer active cases in BC. Our recovery rate is just below 87%. BC's provincial health officer is again urging people who have attended anti-racism protests in BC to check for symptoms of COVID-19.
It's a very difficult thing because we know that people need to speak up against racism and against the impacts that it's having on our communities. But I am concerned, and we are concerned, that we need to make sure that we're doing it in a way that respects peaceful demonstration, our right to peaceful demonstration, but also respects that we cannot have impacts, that potentially we can have impacts on those very people that we are trying to stand up to protect.
Outbreaks have been declared over at 2 poultry processing plants and the new Vista long-term care home in Burnaby. Well, starting Monday, you'll have to pack a mask on BC ferries. Passengers will have to confirm they have a face covering before boarding. Without one, you will not be allowed to travel. The new rule applies to people over 2 years old traveling on routes longer than 30 minutes.